From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know.
As we record this episode, last Wednesday on July 7th, the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise, was assassinated in his home, and his wife was put into critical condition. She was injured in the assassination, the successful attempt at assassination. And both Haitian authorities and international authorities are attempting to ascertain what exactly happened, who was involved, what were the motivations. And I am hesitant to say this, but I will say I'm sure there are some intelligence agencies out there, at least one, that has an understanding of what occurred. Because there's some weird stuff that's being found right now. And everything we're going to talk about today is, of course, news that is developing. So as you hear this, there may be new things coming out of Haiti since the time we recorded this. It is now July 12th, just so everyone is aware. I'm going to read from an article from NBC News titled, Haiti Police Arrest Third Suspect with U.S. Ties in President's Assassination. Here's the subtitle. Charles Emmanuel Sanon, S-A-N-O-N, 63, is one of the suspected masterminds behind the attack, they said. Again, that's according to Haitian authorities. So, I suppose before we really even jump into that article, we need to talk about what happened. It was this past Wednesday, July 7th, when at the Port-au-Prince home of the president, again, Joven Moise, a large group of people. It was over 25, I believe. I think it was around 26 individuals.
Largely Colombian.
Yes. Largely Colombian individuals who showed up at the home. According to NBC and other reporting, this group of people stated that they were DEA. Like it's at least alleged that some of the members of that group were yelling that they were DEA agents as they arrived armed to the home. And, we don't have all of the details on exactly, what happened on a play-by-play scale, but we do know after the conflict, a firefight, the president was killed, and his spouse, his wife, was injured and taken to a hospital. Now, the weird part comes in here when we start putting together the individuals with United States connections who happen to be there or happen to play some part in this assassination. There is a police chief, it's the national police chief. His name is Leon Edwards. He held a news conference, and there have been many of these since the 7th. But he said that they've arrested this one individual named Christian Emmanuel Sanon, or I think that's how you say it, S-A-N-O-N. This person was in Haiti. He had flown there earlier, so in June, by private jet. And he had a whole group of security guards with him, at least according to these authorities. And these security guards appear to have played some part in this, attack? Maybe that's the right way, a coordinated attack is a way to describe it.
Well, their story is, I believe that they were not attempting an assassination, right? That things went sideways.
These are like, there's some strange tales going on here, and it's very difficult to ascertain what is truth, what is a story, and again, it's going to take time to get through all of that stuff. So these guys said that they were going with Sanon as security for him, and that Sanon allegedly wanted to take over as president. And, it's a bit strange to imagine that, right? That they flew to another country to take over. And one of the reasons that is believable as a story is because you can go on YouTube and find videos of Dr. Christian Sanon discussing the corruption, or what he believes is corruption in Haitian politics, and speaking about some things that I personally would tend to agree with, it just in the way that he's speaking about it, in the concepts of taking bribes, getting large corporations in to extract resources, essentially giving up Haiti's power, essentially, in order to gain a little bit of short-term wealth, or to escape some of the poverty that is honestly like striking that nation pretty hard, and has been for quite a while. I again, I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole in my own opinions here and how I feel about this guy's, what he's espousing. Ben, do you have anything you want to add before we keep going here?
Yeah, absolutely. One very important piece of the YouTube videos made by Dr. Sanon is one in 2011 called Dr. Christian Sanon Leadership for Haiti, which appears to present him as the next person in power. And it's important to note that the late president of Haiti, Moise, was not considered popular by any means, and had been accused of corruption, including oddly enough working with gang in the area and working with drug cartels in South America, which I think goes into play here.
I think so too. And he had also overstayed his term, which is kind of weird to think about. President just deciding that, well, I'm not going to leave quite yet. Just because. It's not that simple, obviously, but it's painted that way by some. I want to jump back quickly to this smaller group of security guards that were with Sanon in June. So according to this NBC article, and this is a quote from the police chief there, Leon Charles. He says, quote, "The mission of these attackers was initially to ensure the safety of Emmanuel Sanon, but later the mission was changed, and they presented one of the attackers with an arrest warrant for the President of the Republic." And so they are saying, at least according to the chief of police there, they did have some kind of arrest warrant. I don't know under what authority they had an arrest warrant, but that is really interesting to know that that's officially the story coming out of the law enforcement there. There's some interesting other stuff going on just politically here with the United States and Haiti. The country had been attempting to get security forces from the United States as a temporary measure to kind of calm things down or cool things off, because there is a lot of violence occurring right now in Haiti, at least according to the Western reporting that I've been exposed to. Again, it comes from gang violence, some of the drug cartel activity, other things like that, where just the authorities don't seem to have the resources to handle what they need to handle.
Without even mentioning COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot going on, and then they've asked for help, and so thus far the United States has not, at least to my knowledge, sent any assistance when it comes to law enforcement. And then so that's again, this is a dense topic. There's a lot to discuss here. Let's get back to this person and the group of people that they have arrested as of right now. Police have arrested 18 Colombian citizens and 3 Haitian Americans. Who that includes Sanon, who was there. And there are still 5 people who are allegedly, at least according to law enforcement, they're Colombian nationals. And several people, I think 3 at least as of reporting today, 3 Colombians have been killed. Thus far, Colombian citizens have been killed who were in Haiti. Again, the story, I'm still in that NBC News article. The story from the people who have been arrested are saying they were not trying to kill the president. They were trying to arrest the president. But either way, these people were attempting to remove the sitting acting president from power, which, it's a tough thing to do if you want to do it. And it's a big decision. It's crazy to me that this can still happen, in the modern age, where just a small group of people can essentially topple a government, or at least the head of a government. And we've seen it happen in numerous locations and at numerous times in the past decade. It's just still mind-blowing, I think, that it's possible.
Yeah, agreed, Matt. And the issue here is that, like you said, without getting into the incredibly fraught history of U.S. Haitian relationships, the U.S. has committed in the past illegal actions against the sovereign nation that is Haiti. And because of this, it's no wonder that a lot of observers, especially non Western observers, might think, the U.S. has a hidden hand in here, because the U.S. does have a history of deposing democratically elected leaders, especially in the places it considers part of its regional sphere of influence, or its global backyard, whatever you want to call it. With this in mind, though, the thing is that if the U.S. were involved, right, like on a state level, uh, it would be an interesting wrinkle to their typical pattern, because the typical pattern historically has been to overthrow a leader who does not participate in corporate-led resource extraction, or to overthrow a leader who is thought to be too far left on the political spectrum. And that is not really neither of those are really the case in this assassination.
Yeah, I agree, Ben. I guess my little nod to the intelligence agencies at the top here wasn't so much as in they caused it. It's more like they've been watching these groups, I'm pretty sure. And this is my opinion. I think because of the number of Colombian nationals that were involved, and because Moise was allegedly involved in drug cartel activities, that may be our connection here.
I see.
Something went sour with a deal in Colombia, because Colombia still is a country that exports a lot of drugs. I'm wondering if there's something there, because we also know that the U.S. has some interesting relationships with the drug cartels in Colombia. I don't know. It doesn't mean that they're connected in any way to this, but it does mean that there's something weird was happening, I think, in the realm of the cartels, and that's what occurred here.
You know what else is interesting here, Matt? In 2019, as recently as 2019, the late president had American mercenaries working on his behalf, right? So this thing that often escapes people is, I think, putting the human side to a country that you've never been to. So if you reside in the US, one way to think of this is, let's say a president, it could be any one of the recent ones, Trump, Biden, Obama, take your pick. One of those presidents, whether or not you like them, let's say they get assassinated by a group of people from Canada, right? A group of, why don't we get specific? A group of Quebecois, and they're mad about something, and they say, look, we just busted into the White House to arrest insert president here. We didn't mean to, for them to be murdered. Then you can imagine how, no matter how unpopular that leader would be, the population of the United States would be screaming for their blood.
It's a threat to sovereignty, right? I mean, it's essentially someone coming in and saying, I have jurisdiction here. I'm coming into your territory. And that's clearly not the case, no matter what their beef might be.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not clear what their beef is.
Well, there's a lot of beef to be had. You can just kind of decide. We just don't know.
Your pick. Which flavor of beef are you looking for?
We're at the butcher counter for sure.
Yeah. We just don't know all the specifics yet. As I said at the top, I'm going to give you guys one more wrinkle, then we're going to be finished with this segment. See, I see you, Doc. She's giving us the 15-minute mark. According to the Miami Herald, and the only reason why I'm even entertaining this as something we're talking about is because the president's spouse was taken to Miami, to a hospital there, after she was attacked, and that's where she went to get treatment. According to the Miami Herald, several of the Colombians who were detained said they worked for this place called CTU Security. It's a Miami-based private security firm. And there's a person who runs that named Antonio Emmanuel Intriego Valera. And there is a rabbit hole to go down here with CTU Security. It is very, very interesting stuff. And there's not a lot of leads to follow, but the little breadcrumbs that you get, at least personally speaking here, just makes the intrigue all that sweeter.
Because this isn't the guy's only company, right?
No, there's all kinds of stuff to look down into here, and then I don't want to get embroiled in any cartel activities. So good luck to all of you guys, and hope you're okay. And don't know where I live. Okay, all right. Well, I guess that's it for this one. We're going to continue to follow this story, and we will give you updates if we see anything. We hope you continue to follow it in the news as well, and let us know if you hear anything that you think we should be talking about.